Thanks for staying with us. And Bill O'Reilly in the Miller Time segment tonight. As I reported on Monday, both Miller and I had a very hard time getting from Los Angeles to Hawaii last week. We took separate flights on American Airlines, and each flight was delayed by 3 hours. Why? Because they didn't have any flight crews. Now, Miller flies all the time, and he joins us now from Santa Barbara. So overall, you're all over the country. I mean, overall, what do you think has happened with the airline industry?
Before we get started, Billy, just between me and you, was that last guy gay?
I think he was.
All right. Are we gay?
No.
Can we get a day off from gay?
He's running for office, Miller. Come on, that was a legitimate piece.
I don't want to know who Michael Sam's sleeping with. I don't want to know who Tony Saragusa is sleeping with. Can I get a day off from everybody's bedroom stuff?
We have to be clear, Tony Saragusa is straight because he's 320 pounds, and I don't want him coming here. All right, Miller, airline industry.
The flying. Let me see. Listen, I've had flights that were so bad halfway through it, the pilot could have came on and said, we're going down, and I would have said, good, because this flight's crap. Well, you don't have any options, though. And when you're going to Hawaii like we did, you know they're wheeling out the old equipment. For God's sakes, I flew over in the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. I went to recline my seat. I felt like I was in an Amish gynecological office. It was so little recline. The flight is madness. I get stuck in the line getting on the plane behind this moron guy who's gaffer taped a twine handle under a Frigidaire freezer box. He's calling it carry-on, trying to jam it into the overhead with hydraulic jacks. It's like trying to get Pavarotti into a wetsuit. And I've just given up, because you got to fly, so you put up with it. It's crap from the get-go. I get stuck in the metal detector line behind the piercing addict kid. I got Johnny Tacklebox for a face breaking out his new areola kebabs, setting off every freaking alarm in North America. Just want to get a junkyard magnet and suck him up out of my life. Then they do a cavity search on me. I say, hey, can we do an actual dental cavity search? Maybe we save a little money on health care. Piggyback mammograms onto those x-ray machines at the airport security checkpoints. Let's use our head here. But at the end of the day, just let me say this. The last guy the airlines want to piss off, in addition to the pilot from the Enola Gay, is you. Because you're PO'd now.
I know. I mean, what Miller and I objected to separately, because again, I flew there about 5 or 6 days before Miller to Honolulu to do the Boulder Fresher show. And I stayed on the Big Island and had a good time. However, it was the same excuse. We don't have any crews. All right? Yeah. And with the flight was scheduled 8 months in advance. You think somebody might have figured out you got to have some crews on the plane. And then you show up 5 days later, and they still don't have any crews.
My pilot was Karen Black from The Flick. That's how bad it got. Listen, the people on the plane are nice. I had super nice people treat me. But the fact is, airlines are crap, all right? And I'm trying to pass something called a piece of legislation called ABBA, A-B-B-A, Airline Bullying Billy Act.
All right, now we're going to start a new feature with the Sage of Southern California. It will officially begin next week, but we have 2 preview questions. It's called Ask Dennis. Can't get any easier than that. All right, now the first
I've not heard these questions.
You have not heard the question, all right? So you have not. The first one, what do you do with your money? How do you invest your money, Miller?
Well, I think we're turning into Loserville, so I've got all my money in weed, recliners, hacky sacks, and munchies.
Legalized marijuana play.
Yeah, and I'm also betting on guillotine futures, and I'm time-sharing some catacombs, because I think it's going to be ugly. In California, I think I'm going to give all my money to the state, because I believe I'll have more access to it as a petitioner than I will as the actual proprietor. I'm also exploring alternative investments. I want to open an internet store that sells only brick and mortar. I've got a little seed money in an off-Broadway production of 12 Angry Men with all butch women, and I have a lot of my money in Factor gear. I'm trading out some of those front door mats for beaver pelts, which I then exchange for food, and I also pre-spatter Range Rovers for wussy owners who want to look intrepid. So that's where I've got my money. Also, I've got a thing called Crowd Silencer. If you go on the internet and you guys raise enough money to make me $1 more than I make talking all the time, I'll never talk again. Crowd Silencer.
All right, I had another question. We were out of time, but if you
Wait
want
a
to
second,
ask...
I'm rolling. What are you doing? You're not going to bring that moron again, are you?
No, I don't know who you're referring to, but
All of them, except
next
me,
week,
all of them.
next week you
All right.
email us questions for the D-Man. So you're setting him up. You're rowing to his mark.
I see.
All right? All right, Miller, thank you. And the Boulder Fresher Show moves into Minneapolis.